I'll tell you why I think this in the first real episode of the Your Game Theory, where I will share my theories on everything gaming. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and don't forget to hit the like button. If you didn't know, Insomniac Games is one of my favorite game developers in the biz. And yes, I can't wait for Spider-Man PS4, and I still think that Sunset Overdrive is one of the best games of this generation. But last year, they released the return of one of my favorite series, Ratchet and Clank, for the PS4. It was the best-selling game in the long-running series, a pretty big achievement, and it also got a lot of praise from the critics. I reviewed the game for IGN Benelux and gave it an 8.8. I really didn't expect that Insomniac was able to make Ratchet and Clank so relevant again in 2016. And I think that they will do it again soon. Like I said, it sold really well and the critics loved it. They now have a Ratchet and Clank engine running on the PS4, so yeah, they could do it again. But there is more. But first, did you know that the Ratchet and Clank PS4 game was supposed to be made in 10 months to release alongside the movie? Yeah, it got delayed in the end, that's true, but Insomniac only had 2 programmers and 1 designer on the game in the last few months to polish the game, which is pretty insane. This was because the other people that were working on the Ratchet and Clank game were needed elsewhere. They needed to work on some VR projects that have been out now. In 2016, Insomniac released 3 Oculus Rift VR games, and they're now out. So it's time for the next thing, right? In 2009, Insomniac opened a new studio in North Carolina, a studio that would focus on making Ratchet and Clank games. And that's what they did. They made Into the Nexus, Full Frontal Assault and All for One, and yes, they were also in charge of the Ratchet and Clank PS4 game, although they did it with co-production with the other studio as well. So that means that normally they're in one studio so they can easily communicate, but now with the co-production between the 2 separate studios, they had to do it via FaceTime and explain things to each other that way. It was first a pain, but they learned a lot doing it this way. And it seems like they will do it again for the next Ratchet and Clank title. Both the Burbank and the North Carolina studio are looking for an animator for, quote, rigging various heroes, enemies, vehicles, end quote. Heroes, Ratchet and Clank are heroes, and the game also has enemies that need some rigging and vehicles as well. So this job ad could totally be for a new Ratchet and Clank game. More interesting is the career ad for this shader artist, quote, the ideal candidate will have experience creating advanced materials such as skin, hair and clothes. Skin, hair and clothes. That's really important for a Ratchet and Clank title because the Lombax skin, for example, from Ratchet and the other weird aliens. Another job ad includes, quote, we are looking for a superstar to help create an exciting new world for our characters to travel through, end quote. Our characters, well, they're probably Ratchet and Clanks, those are the characters that Insomniac is most known for, and travel through, I mean, they have a spaceship, they travel through the world. And no, those job listings are probably not for the Spider-Man game, because there is a job listing on the Insomniac website that mentions Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is not mentioned in the other job ads. We also have a ton of Insomniac employees that could be working on this new Ratchet title. A ton of them are currently on no project according to their LinkedIn page, and they worked on the previous Ratchet games. Some have the Edge of Nowhere in there as well, but that wrapped up a year ago. So it's interesting that those guys are not working on something right now, at least according to their LinkedIn page, while they all seem to be pretty up to date. If they will do a new Ratchet, I think it will really be a new one and not a remake of one of the older games. The remake was mostly because of the movie that also came out, but yeah, that movie didn't do so well. So I think that the game will just release as a game and not a movie based on the game based on the movie. This means that they also will need a longer development time for this game than 10 months. Of course, they already had the things that they wanted to do, the story, the characters, so yeah, they could easily make it. So for this new game, they will probably have to make new characters, a new world, stuff like that. So I think a 2018 or an early 2019 release makes a ton of sense. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the game at E3 2017. Ratchet and Clank PS4 was also announced at E3 2014 to be exact, and released in 2016. Although I think a PlayStation Experience 2017 announcement of the return of Ratchet and Clank on PS4 would make more sense. Sony has bigger titles now to show at E3, and also an announcement of a sequel of the popular PS4 games with a huge PlayStation legacy, PlayStation mascots, makes more sense at a hardcore fan event in my opinion. At the end of the Gamma Sutra article where Insomniac Games explains the development of the 2016 Ratchet game, they say that they don't know where the series will go from here and that they are focused on VR right now. It could totally be possible that they will use their VR knowledge on an awesome Ratchet and Clank VR game. I would be down for that, although the job listings that I mentioned don't mention any experience needed in VR. Quote, "What we do know is that Ratchet and Clank games are incredibly fun to make. There is intense passion at Insomniac for the universe and its characters. There are stories to tell, weapons to design, creatures to sculpt, planets to explore." End quote. I think they will do it. They sound pretty excited to make a new Ratchet game. I mean, like I said, the praise and the sales were really good. So Sony coming to them and say, "Oh, you finished with the VR crap? Make a new Ratchet game." I can totally see that happening. And also the job listings kinda, yeah, look that way. They kinda look that way. They could totally fit for a Ratchet and Clank game. What do you think? Is a new Ratchet and Clank PS4 title possible? Let me know in the comments down below. Hope you enjoyed the first episode of the Your Game Theory. I like to speculate. I like to think of these theories.